Hello, parents. My name's Matt Duncan. I am the Director of Strategic Innovation. I fulfill several duties here at the Independent School. Today, I'm going to talk to you about getting the most out of the Panther portal and being able to get inside the Panther portal to get all the information you and your family need about your student here at the Independent School. On our website, you will be able to access the Panther portal on almost every page. The Panther portal is a link on the right side in the navigation bar. When you click on that link, you come to this login screen. Now you can see that I've put in a username, and that username, for many of you who've been here at the Independent School for more than the last year or so, may look like part of your last name and then some letters or numbers. But if you are a parent who has signed up for the Independent School within the last year or so, you will be able to use an email address as your username. Now, it's important to distinguish the fact that this is not solely your email address. It is an email address acting as a username. And so some things may get changed or may be important to note about capitalization and that sort of thing. I'm going to talk through all of these. But let's say you've never logged in before, or you're having trouble with what your login address is or what your password might be. There's a spot where you can click near the bottom of this particular screen that will assist you in that. So when you click on that link, you'll come to a page that looks like this. And here you can retrieve your username or reset your password. And what you need to do first is put in the email address that we have on file for you. So that box at the top has to be an email address that we have on file in our Panther portal database. Once you've done that, you can have your password reset or retrieve your username. And that username may be an email address if you are a new user or if you've decided to opt into that. When you complete this page, if you ask for a username, you ask for a password, whatever happens, this will generate an email that is sent to the address we have on file that you just entered in that box. If the email address you enter in that box doesn't match the one we have on file, this will fail and you won't receive anything and nothing will be reset. So the email address is important that it matches what we have on file for you. When you send this form, when you hit that send button there in blue on the lower left, you will receive an email from this email address in bold. And it's important that you note this because it's not coming from an address that says theindependentschool.com. It's coming from a mail proxy server that is run by the people who run the portal. So you may want to be sure to include this in your address book or a whitelist, some way. Take a look at this, check your spam folder if you're not getting it every time that you try to reset something or have it sent to you. It could be that this email address is not getting through your spam filter. Okay, so you've retrieved your correct username, and so you put it in this box back on the main page there for logging into the Panther portal. But let's say you have one of those email addresses that looks like part of your last name and a couple of letters or numbers. And let's say you want to change it to an email. We do have a service now where we can change that for you. You would use this URL or this QR code to fill in a form. When you fill in this form, we just need to collect a little bit of data about you. One of the most important things you can do on this page is include your child's name, at least one of your children, just so we make sure, especially if you have a common name, we want to make sure we get the right John Smith if we're making any changes to someone's login ability. So there's the URL again, and hopefully it's easy to remember. The capital letters do matter. Once you've got your username correct the way that you'd like it, you log in here. But let's say you still have some trouble, something still isn't working, or let's say that the email address that you are trying to use doesn't seem to be generating any emails. There's a mismatch, something is failing. The first thing, make sure you check that email to be sure it's the one that we have on file. If you need to, call the school and ask to double check which email we actually have on file for you, especially if you have multiple email addresses. The next thing that's going to be important is that capitalization does not matter in an email address, but it will matter in that field for user ID. When you're using an email address as a user ID, it's a little bit different. And so if you decide to put in capital letters in parts of your email address there as the user ID, it will matter that you match them every time you attempt to log in. So just be sure to check that as well. If you're in the lower school, you should contact Kelly Taguchi. If you're in middle school, you're going to contact Cindy Gadd. And if you're in the upper school, you're going to contact Megan Young. If you have any other help, any of those administrative assistants can troubleshoot most of your issues that you may still have. They may have to reset something for you, but they can do that. If then it still doesn't work, that administrative assistant is going to decide to escalate it up to me, Matt Duncan. And I would then either reach out to you or attempt to fix it on my own. I may email you, I may even call you if I need more information, but someone can help you. This image is actually from a YouTube video about escalating issues in IT. I would encourage you to take a look. That's a very funny video. If you've ever worked in IT, it's great. But the point here is that we really want to empower you as the user to help yourself first, and then let us help you when you can no longer help yourself, because you're going to get the best results if you know how to fix the problem on your own and you don't have to reach out to anybody. It could take an administrative assistant a little while to help you. It could take me hours or days potentially to be able to help you, depending on what else is happening. So we want to be sure that you can help yourself first and foremost. So once you're logged in, you have come into the Panther portal. You are on this page. You can see that this page looks a little bit like a sort of streamed down version of Facebook or some other similar social media program. On this page, there are two really important spots to get information. As you can see in the middle, you're going to get a stream of info coming through. You got a banner there that talks about your forms and your checklists, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But the two most important spots here are your child's name on the left and your name on the right. And the name that's here is my wife. She's my my volunteer to be an example. And the name here on the left, the child, is my son. So if you have multiple students here at the independent school, you are going to have a drop-down menu for the child's name. So just keep that in mind as well. You'll see multiple children available to you as a drop-down, and you can switch between them. We're going to talk first about your name. So when you click on your name, you're going to be able to adjust a few things. You can change the settings for notifications, you can change profile information about yourself, and you can access information about files and forms that you have uploaded or filled out for us. When you click on your name, the drop-down menu gives you a few options. It'll look similar to this. There'll be a few different options there maybe. As a note, that Getting Started link that's near the sign out, that's a useful little tool if you want to sort of take a brief tour of the portal itself. But the first thing that you have there is your profile. When you click on profile, you'll get your contact card to come up, and your contact card allows you to edit your phone number, your address, update your email address, change general information about yourself. This is where you can, in real time, give us new information about how to contact you and about relationships in your family. If you click on files and forms, you will see that there will be some that are specific to you, some specific to each of your children, and it will show you what you have yet to fill out and what you have already filled out. And there will be a box you can check that will allow you to see forms from previous years. This is especially useful if you want to check what you submitted in the past. The settings, though, is where we really get into what I want to talk to you about here, because this is how you can set up an email address and a cell phone number to get notifications when new things are posted in the portal. So you can see when you come in to settings, you've got 3 links there on the left: account settings that say login, notifications, and privacy. To briefly talk about privacy, it's the one that I think you may want to just take a look at. We default to certain privacy levels so that we don't share too much of your information with anyone else, even within the portal. But if you'd like to make things more available or less available to other parents, you can go into your privacy settings and adjust things there. On this notifications page, though, the important thing here is that if you put in an email address in this spot, and it should default to the one that you have on file with us, and if you put in a cell phone number, and you'll have to add a little bit of information about your carrier, such as AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, etc., then you can get notifications to come to you wherever you'd like to receive an update if something gets posted. So for example, if you want to see every time your student has a new assignment added in one of their courses, or if they're missing an assignment, or if their sports team has a new game added, or if something's been changed in that schedule, or we've posted news stories in parent portals, etc., you can subscribe to these things here via email or text, and you can also unsubscribe if you'd like. So you have a lot of control over what kind of notifications you get. One important caveat about the text messaging feature: sometimes messages will come to your text with a link in them. Often that link is going to be broken because there's only a certain number of characters that can show up in a text message. And if the link is really long and complicated, or if the title that goes with the link is very long, the text message will run out of characters and you'll get it cut off in the middle. I think that it is safer when you get a text message from TIS in this way, that is a notification about information in the portal, you just use that as an indicator to go into the portal and check it there, because the text often can't carry enough information. So the other place that we have here that will be useful for you is when you click on your child's name, and this is where you're going to find all of your child's grades and other information about what classes they're taking, etc. Briefly, though, I'm going to talk about checklists and an issue we've encountered this year, just so you know what's going on with checklists. So many of you have seen the checklists and the forms, and you've filled them out and you've submitted them all, and somewhere between 3 and 5 of them just may not convert all the way and update, and so it still says you have to complete them even though you've already submitted them. We know that this problem exists and we understand it. We can't fix it midstream, unfortunately, due to the way that the database structure of the portal works. But so you know, we are aware, and by around the 1st of September, we should be turning off these notifications, and we will be manually fixing the ones that haven't converted on their own. But we have captured your data if you have submitted all the forms, even if it looks like it's not going through. I would encourage anyone who's working on forms to use the checklist. The checklist is a context for all of the forms. It gives you a little bit of information about the form. There's a little drop-down arrow next to where it says either started or completed, that you can get more information about each of these forms. The checklist is there to help you know what still needs to be done and why you're filling out the form in the first place. So once you're past all the forms, you've clicked on your child's name and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's a progress tab. The progress tab is where you start off, and this is maybe the most important page inside your child's portion of your portal experience. On the progress tab, you'll see links to all of their classes, you'll see summaries of their grades, and you'll see teacher contact information. So it's important that you know that all of those names of courses, if you click on it, it'll take you to the page for that class. So if you want to see what's happening in the first grade, or you want to see information about assignments, etc., you just click on first grade there in blue, and it'll take you inside. On the right side, you can see that there's the teacher's email address and a box with a little blue icon that looks like a word balloon that says message. That message button works within the portal system to send a message. Teachers will see their message indicator turn red with a little white number inside for the number of messages they have. You'll see the same thing if you have messages from teachers and other administrators. I think it's useful to get familiar with how that system works. It's kind of like an instant message system inside the portal, but you can always email a teacher as well, and their email addresses are listed right there. One important thing about grade level classes for the lower school in particular, from 2nd through 4th grade, you will see a composite score. And it's right up there underneath where it says 1 checklist. There's sort of 2 dashes. That's where a score will be. For grade levels 2, 3, and 4, that score won't actually be your student's grade in the class. It'll be a composite of 3 grades, and you'll need to go inside the course and see the grade summary in order to get a clear understanding of how your student is doing in math, social studies, English, and science. This page is super useful. It allows you to get inside the class to be able to see what assignments, what extra materials, and what other important messages the teacher may have for the students and for you. And so this will be a really vital place. This is kind of the command center for your understanding of your child's progress through their coursework. A final way that you can get information, especially about emergency closures, such as for quarantines or especially inclement weather. If there's going to be a snow day, for example, we use Textcaster. And if you go to this URL or use this QR code, you can get into Textcaster and subscribe yourself to our Textcaster broadcasts. It's important to know that you manage this subscription. We don't manage it. And if you've already signed up for Textcaster, you're in Textcaster until you decide not to be anymore. That's our policy right now. Textcaster is very useful because anytime there's a school closing, we will have a message out to Textcaster as early as possible in the morning, usually by 6 a.m. or before. When we have school closings, we also notify local media, and we put banners on our website and inside the portal as well, but Textcaster would come directly to your cell phone. So please consider subscribing to Textcaster to get that kind of information immediately. I hope that this has all been very helpful for you, and I hope that if you have any further questions, you reach out to the administrative assistant in your division. If you need further assistance or you're running into any errors, I will be able to help you, and the administrative assistants will notify me if there's something that they can't handle for you. Thanks very much, and I hope we all have a great year.